Hey guys, I want to share with you this blog post I wrote. You can read it on my website, melissaottcoaching.com, or listen as I read it to you now. It's called The Truth About Overwhelm. Overwhelm, verb, to overpower in thought or feeling, inundate, defeat completely, bury or drown beneath a huge mass. I feel overwhelmed. Life seems to have no shortage of things to do and think about that cause us to feel overwhelmed. The different phases and stages of life will dictate new reasons why we should worry about what we have on our plate. For a college student, it's all the tests, papers, and reports due, while also trying to work to make a living and balance new relationships. For a new mom, it's wondering why someone trusted you to keep this fragile child they sent you home from the hospital with alive, and spending the hours you used to be peacefully sleeping, agonizing over whether or not he's breathing, getting fed enough, or being loved enough by you. When a couple more kids come and you find yourself balancing school projects, moody kids, your struggling relationship, the finances, keeping the house functioning, and just wanting everyone to be happy, overwhelm can feel like the one constant through all the whirlwind. But what if I told you that overwhelm is optional, that you never actually have to feel it? You may think I'm delusional, and perhaps I am, but what if we're all delusional? What if it is a delusion to think that we could actually be good at everything we want to be good at in life? That we could be a good mom that makes all the right choices for her kids, that our kids could make all the right choices and never have to suffer any consequences for their poor behavior, that our homes could look like a model home that never gets dirty or even appears to be lived in. Um, we could experience all the success in life in whatever flavor that looks like for you, with no suffering, no hard times, no contentions, no broken homes, no skeletons in our closet, and no regrets. Okay, we know that's not possible. So then why do we get so upset when bad things happen to us? Life is 50-50. 50% wonderful, magical moments of bliss and peace and happiness. 50% crappy, overwhelming, bummer moments that we wouldn't choose for ourselves, but they happen. Sometimes the 50% of negative emotion in life is directly correlated to our own choices and behavior. And sometimes the 50% of negative emotion we feel is a result of things completely out of our control. Despite despite where the source of our pain comes from, we are more likely in more control of it than we think we are. I want to take this time to say that I am not a medical doctor and I don't know all the perplexities of mental health and physiological disorders, including but not limited to severe depression, debilitating anxiety, and bipolar disorder. If you are experiencing symptoms of these or other disorders and are having self-harming or suicidal thoughts, I would encourage you to seek help from a medical professional. Together with your team of doctors, you can use the symptoms you're feeling as clues to find the right medication to help you experience a more normal range of emotion. Please don't give up in your quest to find the right medication to help you. Your life is so important, and the information I give in this article will be applicable when you are on the correct dosage of medication that can help stabilize you. So, assuming you aren't being affected by one of the conditions mentioned above, you have a lot more control over what you're feeling than you think you do. This is because thoughts are what fuel our feelings, and all thoughts are optional. Think for a second of the last time you held something of great value. Maybe it was a newborn baby or a very expensive item. Did the thought ever occur to you to just drop it? Of course, you're not going to drop an helpless infant, and yet the brain offers the thought. Just because we have the thought does not mean we have to act on it. That's a pretty obvious one. But what about more subconscious thoughts that we don't even recognize we're having? What about the thought, I could never do that? I'm just not good enough, smart enough, talented enough, pretty enough, capable enough. These limiting thoughts creep into our mind and are just taken as fact, like having the option to drop the valuable thing, something we would never do. We also have the option to call BS on the limiting beliefs and intentionally choose not to believe them. Overwhelm is the same. We can have a long laundry list of things to do, but it does not have to make us feel overwhelmed until we think the thought, this is overwhelming. This is overwhelming is not a hard fact. It is subjective to the person thinking it, and it is optional. We can allow it to come into our mind and invite it right out the other side. That is just as much within our capability as having the thought in the first place. So, why does it feel so much easier to be overwhelmed than it does to dismiss overwhelm? Well, part of the reason is the lie we believe based on the way our society is structured that our worth is based on what we accomplish. It is human nature to assume that when we are accomplishing big life events, landing jobs, or even something as small as keeping our bedroom clean, that we are more worthy. This is a complete lie. You are born with a full measure of worth, and you die with that same amount of worth. Nothing you do or don't do in life takes away or adds to the worth you have. There is no hierarchy of good or bad types of people, except for the beliefs that we individually or as a society have made up in our heads. When people start believing that they are better or worse than other people, consequences follow. But it is within your power to reject this hierarchy and see the common humanity we have in life. Another obstacle we face is the false belief that validation and happiness are found externally. When we strip away all the marketing we're subjected to and the societal messages we're inundated with, telling us the key to happiness and how much it costs to purchase it, we come back to our own self that is full of worth just as much as the person next to us. We need to stop looking to the Joneses down the street for the standard of where we should be or what we should have to know that happiness is created by thoughts in our brain and does not have a price tag. Another time overwhelm is easy to believe is when we are operating out of a scarcity mindset. We don't think we have enough time to do all the things we have to do. Perhaps you have a deadline at work, and if you don't meet it, you will get fired. Getting fired feels scary, and without a job, starvation and death feels imminent. But let's look at reality. If, worst case scenario, you did get fired, while you could be kicked out on the streets and eventually die of starvation, what evidence do you have that that won't be the case? Maybe a family member will help you out. Maybe there's actually a better job out there that you will enjoy much better than this one. The possibilities are endless, but because our brain is trying to help us survive, starvation and death is usually where our minds will go. And our natural instinct is to feel overwhelmed because of it. But I want you to see in this circumstance where the deadline is looming and our brain is offering us starvation and death as a possible outcome to think about we can just as easily think a thought like, I'm going to figure this out. Now, instead of overwhelm, we can feel hopeful that we have the ability to meet the deadline. Chances are the actions we will take to meet the deadline will be better quality when we're feeling hopeful rather than taking the actions we take out of overwhelm. All it takes is a shift in what we choose to believe about ourselves and about our capabilities. This shift is possible when we use our conscious mind to look at the thoughts our brain is offering us subconsciously and to always question the beliefs we have about ourselves. Now, sometimes we're going to choose to feel overwhelmed, and that's okay. We just need to own the fact that it is our choice to feel it and that we are creating it by the thoughts we are thinking. No circumstance makes you feel overwhelmed. You create overwhelm by sentences in your brain that are oftentimes exaggerated and completely irrational. If overwhelm is a place you find yourself living in for a majority of your life, I want to invite you to examine the subconscious beliefs you are thinking about yourself. You don't have to believe any of them are true. This can be so freeing, and you could create a whole new life for yourself. If you want help identifying and working through your subconscious beliefs, go ahead and write an email to me, melissa@melissaottcoaching.com. I would love to schedule a 20-minute free mini session on how my coaching program can help you break free of the overwhelm you are causing for yourself, and you can create an amazing life for yourself. Go ahead and email now. Thanks.